Talk about the number one linebacker in America, Tyler Atkinson. He's a top 10 player overall at Grayson High School, 6'2", 205, and he's taken a lot of visits. Steve, how do you see his recruitment sitting right now?
Well, I'm not sure a prospect in the country saw more head coaches than Tyler Atkinson when they were on the road for a few weeks there in this new year. Hugh Freeze, Dabo Sweeney, Mike Norvell, Kirby Smart choppering in, Mario Cristobal, Ryan Day right after winning the national championship, Dan Lanning, Josh Heupel, Lincoln Riley, some of the best, most prominent head coaches in the sport all coming to Loganville Grayson to see the number one linebacker in the country, 5-star recruit, state champion, and one of the first players to emerge in this class in 2026. Dan Lanning, when he was the defensive coordinator at Georgia, he was recruiting Tyler Atkinson. He's been at Oregon 3 years. So this is how long we've been writing and talking about Tyler Atkinson. And he is going to go through his process. He's going to take a bunch of visits, take all his official visits. The intel coaches around these programs behind the scenes, they say Georgia's going to be tough to beat. He visited Georgia shortly after they won the national championship for a Georgia playoff practice. He returned for junior day last month. Kirby Smart came by the school. Glenn Schumann then came by the school himself. So it was one of the first prospects Kirby went and saw. And then Glenn Schumann returns, one of the last prospects Georgia saw, just to make sure that G remains in front of him. Look, Auburn and Ohio State, I think, are two others that I have a keen eye on in this recruitment. I think Georgia leads, but Auburn and Ohio State. He's been to Ohio State a couple times, loves that program. Auburn, a lot of ties to Loganville Grayson at Auburn, their program on the rise. And then certainly the others. I mean, he had a great visit out to USC. Just so many great relationships. Good visit down to Miami. This recruitment's going to go a while. But I think that you have Georgia out in front right now.
Yeah, this one might remind me of Justice Terry. I mean, it ends up where he signs, but right now, and I'm not just talking about the experts, you and Chad, you talk to anybody right now behind the scenes, and nobody is willing to say it's anybody other than Georgia right now. Do you get that feel that this is like maybe Xavier Griffin territory, Justice Terry, kind of like the what we were hearing last year?
Well, the difference between Tyler Atkinson and a lot of the recruits in the class, NIL is obviously a factor for him. He's already got an Adidas deal. I mean, he is one of the most prominent NIL athletes in this class. I don't know if 100,000 here, 100,000 there is going to settle the recruitment, where National Signing Day show, how did Justice Terry end up at Texas? Well, Chad Simmons says the best NIL deal. Tyler Atkinson has a lot of revenue streams right now going on here. And not to say that any of these other prospects don't have big goals, because they do. I truly think that Tyler Atkinson wants to be the best linebacker on the planet. And so what program is going to help him be that? Georgia and what they've done with NFL drafts and linebacker development and how those guys are playing in the NFL has them in great standing. Ohio State, the way they just produce pros year in and year out. Auburn, the relationships there, the potential of the program. Those are three that I have a keen eye on. But I think when you add it all up there, Georgia's in a good spot.
All right.
I also think Kirby Smart in Georgia, I think for NIL, for some of these coaches, it's there's no way in hell these guys are getting paid that. Over the last two cycles, I think Kirby Smart and his staff are all right, these guys are getting paid that.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Dogs even more competitive on that front in this cycle.